Claude just ran a command on your computer, except it never touched your computer. It ran inside a sealed Linux sandbox. And that one boundary explains almost every surprising thing an AI agent does with your files: why paths change, why some files vanish, why the first command is slow. Let's map the whole model, end to end. Start with the big picture. When the agent runs a shell command, it doesn't run on your Windows machine, it runs inside a containerized Ubuntu environment, with its own file system, its own process space, and a network limited to an allow list. If you know Docker, this is that family: namespaces, cgroups, mounts. Two honest caveats. From the inside, the agent can't prove the exact runtime. It could be containered, gvisor, or a micro VM. And every bash call is a fresh shell, spun up and cleaned up for you. So if it's sealed off from your machine, how does it ever see your files? Hold that thought. Let's make it concrete. You ask Claude to turn a spreadsheet into a chart. Here is what actually happens. 1. It opens a fresh shell inside the sandbox. Nothing from the last command carries over. 2. It reads your file through a mounted folder, not from your real disk directly. 3. It runs Python, which is already installed in the container. 4. It writes the chart back to a mounted folder, so the result lands on your machine. Same pattern every single time: fresh shell, mounted files, sandbox tools. Now, which folders are mounted, and which writes actually stick? Your real folders reach the container through bind mounts under a per session path. 3 of them matter. Your project folder, read and write, and those writes land on your real disk. The outputs, or scratch directory, the agent's workspace, but ephemeral, cleared between sessions. And uploads, the files you attach, read-only. So a file you'd open as your project name, foo.txt, the agent reaches at the mounted MNT path. The rule that trips people up: project writes persist, scratch writes don't. And that one rule causes the single most common mistake. Here's the trap. You ask Claude to generate a report, it says done, you can see the file in the sandbox, and next session, it's gone. Why? It wrote to the scratch directory, which is wiped between sessions. The fix is one habit: write anything you want to keep into the mounted project folder. 2 more traps from the same root cause. Because every command is a fresh shell, relative paths break, so the agent uses absolute paths. And because the sandbox file system is not your desktop, a path you hand to a desktop app has to be a real host path, not a /sessions path. 3 gotchas, 1 model. 2 last details that surprise people. First, the network isn't open, it's allow listed, so the sandbox can reach approved places and not the whole internet. Second, the container boots lazily, it starts on the first command, so that very first call can come back with workspace still starting. Wait a beat, retry, and you're in. Neither is a bug, both are the sandbox quietly doing its job. Let's tie it together. For things to remember. 1. Every bash call is a fresh exec, so use absolute paths. 2. The sandbox file system is not your desktop. 3. Bind mounts expose your folders, project writes persist, scratch is ephemeral. And 4. The network is allow listed, with the container booting lazily on first use. Get these 4, and nothing the agent does with your files will surprise you again. That's the whole model: a sealed sandbox, your folders mounted in, a fresh shell every time. If you want to know what Claude can't talk, view the video listed above.